Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a custom scenario where we simulate some civilization on a custom world map. This actually isn't the first time I've done this series. I tried it a long time ago, before the alternate history of the world series, which is better known as What If Civilization Started Over on YouTube at least. That's not what I always called it. I always called it alternate history of the world. But anyways, I tried to do something similar to this custom world timeline, custom world map, custom countries, all this stuff. I lost the file, and without the file, I couldn't do it, and I wasn't gonna spend all the time to recreate what wasn't gonna be that good. So I went for the alternate history. And speaking of that, you may be asking, why are you doing this series when you already have the alternate history series? And the reason is because, alright, so let's do a deep dive on all the layers, because I don't think I have to have all of them online and stuff like that. So right now, first of all, let me turn on every single layer. Um, this is the terrain of the world. You can guess which color is which. So that's the terrain. I have an alliance map. I have a province map. This is religion slash ethnicity. They're not the same thing, but in the series, for simplicity, I will be grouping them into one similar identity, though they won't be the same. And then below this is a language, it's a language map, which I believe is a missed opportunity for all of these different series, because you have to realize not everyone is speaking the same language. So why not just have a language map? We also have capitals, major cities, trade routes, then we have ocean borders, then we have, this is an interesting one, nation true borders and nation claims. Now, these two are extremely different. Nation true borders is the territory that these countries like actually claim, and then, I mean, not claim, but control. And then nation claims are like border disputes and stuff like that. And also like lands that countries don't control, such as if we look at Ada's Pro's What If Civilization Started Over series. The Brown team, when it was colonizing North America, it didn't control all of the land, but they claimed it, and that's going to be like here, where the true borders are going to be the lands that they controlled, and the claims will be on their separate layer. Which, speaking like of all these countries and stuff, let's let's actually begin a series. Alright, so we're going to begin in this little area. If we look at the terrain map, we will find this is actually a pretty nice place to live. We have a small forest, some plains, we're pretty close to some rocky areas. Like over here, some mountain ranges. We're also next to a giant desert and a savanna, so that's going to be like hard to traverse and stuff like that. Taking a quick look at the religions map, we see it's split between two religions, the Red Religion and the Lighter Red Religion, which is like an offshoot of the Red Religion. And looking at languages, they're fairly similar, although there are some differences. Now you also may notice this isn't white, this isn't a white color, this is a dark gray color, and this is to represent that these aren't like discovered by like actual nations and maps and stuff like that. These are lands inhabited by natives, because just like how in our world, where we didn't instantly go from humanity to countries, it'll be a slow progression from humanity or whatever the civilization will look like, which, by the way, I will put it up on screen right now. You can see the art is made by my friend Tindleby. His YouTube channel will be linked in the description. But anyways, in this world, it's not going to be just instantly this species to country. It's going to be like a slow evolution, and that's something I should have done with the alternate history series on my YouTube channel. But we're going to do it here. So what's going to happen is, up here in these northern regions, what we will see happening is something that'll be pretty interesting. So what's going to happen is these tribal leaders will be about, there's going to be good chunk of them, and they're gonna all come together and they're going to say, hey, we've been fighting each other for a long time, but we're very similar. We all speak the same language. We have the same religion. We just don't have the same ideals. So how about we come together and make more of like a unified identity? And basically what they propose is like basically for the tribes, all of them have their different chiefs. So what they're saying is that all the chiefs will be part of like a unified council where they all make decisions unanimously. There will also be like sub-regions, sub-councils. These will be known as regions, which will eventually move into provinces eventually. And so what we see them doing is they follow in this idea, and basically we get what is technically our first nation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the red team. Now, pretty quickly, they will send out an invitation to every single country whom has the same religion and the same language, and not country, I mean tribe. They'll send out an invite to every single tribe that has the same religion and speaks the same language to join this union. All their councils will be part of this council, or all their chiefs will be part of this council that will make decisions that all tribes have to listen to. And we see this group of tribes over here deciding to actually join up with this group. This choice will inspire these two other provinces to join up with this Red Nation province thing. And from here, there's going to be the first ever kind of technical war. Obviously, there have been wars fought between the separate tribes, but this will be the first semi-country formation of countries versus actual tribe, as we see a tribe that doesn't want this bigger tribe that just joined the Red Nation to actually join up with the Red Nation, so they will go ahead and they will attempt to attack it, which the council will call out, and they will say, hey, you can't do that, and they will give the armies of every single tribe in the Red Nation permission to go in and invade this tribe. So on screen right now we have basically the borders of this tribe, and we will see the armies of the Red Nation beginning to push through. We also get this smaller tribe over here in this area move their forces down and into the southern part of this dark red tribe, and eventually the tribe itself will fall, leading to it being completely annexed into the empire. I don't know why I said empire. That's not really an empire. It's just trying to like get itself figured out. Now from here we will get our first ever provinces. Before we do that, we have to look at nation claims. So what do the claims of the nations look like? Well, while despite necessarily being like an actual nation, it will still have claims. It'll say, hey, these guys belong to us. They will join us one day, just you wait on it. They know that these tribes aren't actually part of the country, but they are planning on making them part of the country one day. So what are their claims? The claims will look something like this. So this is the real borders, and this is what they claim. So obviously that might cause a little bit of tension, but let's move on to a place with arguably more tension. Up here in this tiny little area, if we look at the terrain, it's pretty nice. It's split heavily. The language, it's split down the middle, and the religion, the ethnicity, split down the middle. They're the same divide. And that's because these two have a long rivalry. So when one day the part of this divide, the dark green part I mean, decides to make a country similar to like the red country that we just saw forming, it's going to lead to a really big issue as suddenly the line part of the divide is like, whoa, wait just a second, you can't do this. And the green part says, yes, we can. So the line part of the nation will do basically the same thing, but only this one has a lot fewer provinces or tribes compared to the green one. And the green one is going to see this as basically a really big threat, as suddenly this really ancient divide is suddenly starting to brew again. It was already brewing heavily before, but now it is back, and suddenly provinces are trying to get into this thing left and right. Most noticeably, this is the joining of these two tribes into the green part of this nation. Well, not technically nation, but you know what I mean. So tensions over there are starting to brew, and they're starting to brew greatly. But down here in this region, let's take a look at the terrain. It's a jungle, and unlike with the green and lime areas up north, this is like heavily occupied by like a bunch of yellow people from like a yellowish area. And aside from a few religion and language divides, which are pretty minor, it's fairly united except for in tribes until one day there's this one tribe along the coastline, and it gets this chief, and this chief wants to take over all of the other tribes. So he goes down, he invades his neighboring tribe, and then his other neighboring tribe, and suddenly all the tribes are suddenly this yellow country. And this is where we finally get a look at our first ever provinces. As of right now, we only see two provinces get properly administrated, or not provinces, but regions, and basically these are like sections of tribes that are made off into their own areas for them to control by themselves, basically like sub-tribes within one giant tribe, but they're all administrated by the same tribe. We see something similar happen as the second ever region to pop up happens to be within this red country, who has a region pop up around like this. However, people quickly find that, there are tribes here that don't want to be part of this. In fact, obviously, these four different leaders, they might have some issues with each other, so what they decide to do is they decide to split up these regions further into the single provinces themselves. Or not provinces, but tribes. So every single tribe you see is going to have its own region. So as of right now, these are about what the administrated provinces are over here. This Yellow Nation, however, will continue to work on some provinces. They will have like ideas for provinces made out, which will be in these dashed marks. But the big issue with these like suggested province designs is the language and religion issue, more greatly the language part of this issue, as the languages over here, except for in this one province, don't necessarily match. Every single province except for this one and this one have separate languages, which could cause some I keep saying tribal, that's my bad. Some regional chaos within this country, but obviously these are only suggested borders, and obviously this leader, this chief over here in this main tribe, he won't really care, although he will also just give his tribe its own province as like a middle finger to all the others. And unfortunately, that's where we're going to leave it off now. It is like really late right now. Like, I am tired as heck due to the fact that it is past 11. I've been recording for almost 30 minutes, and obviously I had to change the map like last minute because I didn't like the old one. It was kinda meh. So I switched it out with this one. But now, like, I'm all over the place 'cause the old one I had a bunch of things planned out. This one, I kept most of the details, but a bunch of them I had to switch up, and also some other details I had to add. For example, the terrain map. The terrain map will help heavily in future videos, as it'll help with like mountains and deserts, river borders, stuff like that. So yeah, if you want to see more of this, then just leave a like. That's all I really want. if you like it, then I know, hey, you like it, you want to see more of this. And obviously, as I was just saying, like this isn't like as planned as it was supposed to. So in like the future, I can actually make it a lot more planned out. The ideas will be a lot more like prepared and not just coming to my head as I'm doing them, because like I won't necessarily have a script that I'm reading off of, but I'll have an idea on what I'm doing. I already have an idea on what I'm gonna do for the next episode. So I guess I will see you either then or in an episode of the alternate history of either the world or the Americas. Peace. See ya.